Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tony Cripps, for joining us today. Tony, you're the Chief Executive Officer for SABB, SABB Bank, based in Riyadh. SABB was named the best bank in Saudi Arabia this year by Euromoney and Euromoney's Awards for Excellence. Thank you for joining us today. I've got a few questions for you in receipt of this award. Congratulations. And from the top, let's start with the recent merger of Al Awal. The how did I would like to start by asking you how you think you managed to come back stronger, or you've achieved this merger, come through it stronger, and come out of it stronger, and how are you ready for the opportunities that now lie ahead at this amazing time for Saudi Arabia?
Sure. Well, thanks very much for the award, the recognition of a lot of work from the team here. And For me, the arrival in Saudi about 4 or 5 months ago um, was just around the time that we completed the merger that you just mentioned with Al Awal, and it had been a lot of work over 2 or 3 years to put both banks together, which, as you can imagine, was a complex process of integrating IT systems and transitioning clients across to SAB. Um, it was done very well, and credit goes to the teams that did that before my arrival. So, as I said, when I arrived, we had a platform of an integrated banking entity with a very strong domestic retail business and an exceptionally strong international business that SAB has long dominated in the kingdom. And it's our partnership with HSBC and the global and regional network we offer, in combination with the very strong domestic platform that allows us to have such a strong franchise. And we've been in the kingdom for longer than 50 years, so we've got a lot of local knowledge. And indeed, we're very focused on growth. We're already the fourth largest bank in the kingdom at this stage, and we want to continue growth. It's a very strong sector. The corporate space it has a lot of opportunities going forward around Vision 2030 in relation to infrastructure, in particular, within that space, the transition economy is very critical for Saudi Arabia. So the ESG agenda is something that we're prioritizing as a bank in Saudi, and leveraging again our partnership with HSBC and the international experience that the group has globally. I personally, was in Singapore for the last 4 years and led the industry task force in working with the MAS, the Monetary Authority, to develop strategies for Singapore for the finance sector to develop sustainable finance platforms. So we're going to be concentrating on that. In the retail space, very strong growth in mortgages and home ownership, which is again linked to the 2030 vision of increasing wealth in the kingdom more equally, socially. Allowing home ownership is playing into that wealth strategy, and one that we're going to play a big part in. We're very focused on that.
The home ownership aspect, often overlooked, isn't it, as part of Vision 2030, but absolutely central to it, as is the wealth
Very
creation
central. Yeah,
opportunity.
wealth
Yeah.
creation for the broad population, exactly.
Mm. You fourth largest bank in the kingdom. You're also one of four banks chosen by SAMA, by the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, to take part in a pilot scheme to drive digital finance and innovation across the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Um, so, digital is interesting in Saudi Arabia. It's growing fast. How would you describe yourself as a leader in that area, and what challenges are ahead, and what opportunities are there for you to grasp?
Well, we're very focused on digital. That's a core strategy. We are one of the leaders in the kingdom around digital, and again, we have a very strong domestic focus for domestic solutions. But on top of that, we leverage HSBC's international digital experience and some of the technology that the group uses worldwide. We also use in Saudi. So, for instance, our penetration in the corporate space for digital is well above 80%. using HSBC Net as a platform, which I know a lot about because I used to be head of digital for HSBC back in the early 2000s, based in London. But SABB, particularly as part of our 5-year plan, we're investing twice as much as we ever have over the next 5 years in digital. Most of that, or the bulk of that, will be in the next sort of 18 to 24 months, naturally, as you upfront the spend. We already have a strong retail platform, a strong app that's highly regarded. We have recognition for that amongst customers and in the industry. But we intend to improve, and there's things we've done in the kingdom. We're one of the first banks to allow instant payments using the MADA Pay, and Apple Pay. We collaborate with fintechs. We're working with the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in partnership around innovation. And we have a best-in-class remittance service. So on the retail side, there's more to do on top of what we've already done. But in the corporate space, we are definitely in leadership. As I said, using the HSBC International Network. So, but the investment dollars that we'll be putting in, we'll see much further development over the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, you mentioned ESG just now, Tony. HSBC is a leader in it. Saudi Arabia has all the potential in the world to be a leader in ESG. Where do you think you can offer what can you learn from the market? What lessons can you also offer the market as ESG expands, and how will ESG look in Saudi Arabia that's different from elsewhere?
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for Saudi Arabia in the development of its 2030 plan. It's core to it, actually, and it's no surprise. The region has long been supported by the export of energy, and so creating climate mitigation industry over the next 10, 20, 30 years is going to be critical. And I think because of that, and because of the scale of the opportunity, international investors are also very interested in supporting investment in ESG initiatives, in sustainable finance. We will play a strong part in that. We have a terrific international capability because of our experience in Europe and across Asia, and the Americas. So we can bring technology, we can bring market intelligence into the kingdom. As I said earlier, personally, I led the task force in Singapore advising the government of Singapore, the Monetary Authority, for the last 3 or 4 years, chairing the industry working group around the development. And there's a bunch of things you need to do. There's a lot on the government regulation side. There's a definition of taxonomy around the investors being able to identify easily and invest in green projects. And there's a lot of education that has to be done as well, and the communication around that is critical. So I think it's a huge opportunity for the kingdom to attract foreign capital into projects, and there's some evidence that this is already happening. The Red Sea project, just recently, there was an announcement as the first green loan financing for that project itself, and that project is part of the tourism agenda. It's one of the giga projects that aims to attract more tourists to the kingdom, and the financing for that was in green format. So SABB financed that with its balance sheet, and HSBC, in partnership, was the green advisor for that syndicated loan facility. So that was the first example, and that was just very recently.
Interesting development. And long term, what are your plans at SABB to benefit from Vision 2030? It's always been a fascinating market, economy, country. But with Vision 2030, it changes. It becomes a whole new ballgame. We're a few years into that. From your perspective, what is your interest? What do you see as being the long-term global interest in investing in Saudi Arabia?
Well, just shortly after my arrival, we announced our new 5-year plan for SABB. So we gave a long-term view of our intentions in the kingdom. In the corporate space, we've long been dominant for over 50 years as the leading international bank in the kingdom for corporate and institutional business, and that will continue. And as the kingdom opens up to more foreign investment and greater international opportunities outbound and inbound, then we play a central, pivotal role to facilitating that for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. What changed a little bit in terms of our new 5-year plan was a greater focus on expanding our retail business and also a greater focus on expanding our involvement in the SME space in the kingdom. And again, SME, the contribution of small businesses to overall GDP is one of the planks of the Vision 2030 plan. Again, greater inclusion of small businesses, as in many other economies, a leading employer. So we're very focused on that, and it's part of Vision 2030. In retail, home ownership is again a plank of Vision 2030. It's going extremely well. Ownership has risen from the high 40s to the low 60s, and the ambition is to get it into the 70s. This is again a program designed to create employment, to create wealth more broadly for the economy. And so again, we're going to play a pivotal role in expanding our retail business. Also, that if you think about the opening up of Saudi around Vision in 2030, the affluent space of the retail segment is going to be probably the fastest growing, because you're going to have more Saudis obviously growing wealth more broadly, and that will lead to demand for more international service. There'll be more travel from Saudis going overseas. They'll want more interesting products for investment from outside the kingdom. So that again plays right into our strategy and our connectivity internationally for SABB in working with the HSBC group.
Wonderful. Yeah, great point at the end about the the affluent retail space, the affluent across the affluent space. Really, thank you so much, Tony. Tony Cripps, Chief Executive Officer of SABB in Riyadh. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the award.
Thank you once again. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.